We're going through something absolutely historic.
Technologies across the board are growing exponentially.
It's a disruption that's going to completely redefine the way businesses compete.
In the next decade, we're going to lose 40% of today's Fortune 500 companies.
The exponential growth of computing is continuing.
AI is nowhere near its full potential.
Whether you like it or not, that the future cannot be stopped by anyone.
Everybody, this is Mark Verbenkoff, and welcome to episode number 135 of the Future Tech and Foresight podcast. So for anybody paying attention to AI, you've no doubt interacted or used one of the image generators like Midjourney or Leonardo or DALL-E over the last little while. And hopefully, like me, you've been pretty amazed at how quickly and how impressive the images have been generated, especially compared to some of the earlier free tools, which turned out some, I guess you could say, nightmarish or just plain weird images, right? It's gotten a lot better over the last couple months. So actually, a little over 6 months ago, I made an episode that focused on text to video generation, which was going through a small, or I guess you could say medium, hype wave due to the company Runway's Gen 2 that was released to the public and allowed you to create a quick 4-second video from a single text prompt, right? So just like ChatGPT or Midjourney, just write in a little bit of text, you prompt it, and either like a paragraph or some text is generated or image is generated. Runway's created video. So I'll actually have the short video that I generated overlaid here if you want to see it on YouTube. And remember, this is about 6 months ago. So this sparked a wave of speculation about the future of content creation in particular, and notably fan-made content. So I'll revisit this afterwards, but as it's been 6 months and Google just launched its text-to-video AI called Lumiere, I think it's the absolute perfect time to revisit this subject and see how this space has evolved and if the impacts that many speculated about are still feasible. So let's start just simply by looking at Google's Lumiere. So firstly, what is this? Taken directly from the website, this is Google's latest concept. It is a time-space diffusion model that transforms text and images into realistic AI-generated videos with on-demand editing capabilities. It's a little bit of a mouthful. We'll look at some examples to make this a little bit more tangible and clear for you. So the first thing to note when you're specifically looking at the demo videos is how realistic they look, okay? So compared to the earlier text-to-video models, these are pretty good. They are substantially better. And we can see that the same improvements were made with the text-to-image generators like Midjourney. So in a reasonably short time, we got more and more lifelike image generation capabilities, and we're sort of seeing the same now as it's happening with video generation, kind of as one would expect within this AI space, this AI industry. So with that in mind, Google is explaining that Lumiere is designed to create realistic, diverse, and coherent motion. So Lumiere was trained on a dataset of 30 million videos and text captions and has the ability to generate 80 frames at 16 frames per second. So still pretty short, but as I just mentioned with Midjourney and many of these other generative AI tools getting faster in a short amount of time, I'm sure that when Lumiere is released to the public, there will be a short iteration, maybe 3 to 6 months, so it'll be able to generate a lot more than 80 frames. So Lumiere also boasts the ability to increase both the length and quality of generated videos through joint spatial and temporal downsampling. So don't worry, I'm not going to get super technical into in this episode. I typically avoid that. There are people out there that are way better at the technical understanding of this technology. If you want more of these technical details, obviously go do check out the paper that Google released. You can access it directly from the website. I'll also have a link on the show notes as per usual. So furthermore, it isn't just text to video, but it's also image to video. And what I think is actually the coolest aspect, which is stylized motion. This is where you will be able to upload an image with a unique style. Actually, one of the examples that they put on the website is kind of an ornamental flower that's constructed out of gold, and then Lumiere will map that kind of golden style onto a generated image. So, for example, you ask it to generate a video of an animal moving in a particular way, but it will be in that stylized gold of the example ornamental flower. I think they have an example of, say, like a lion moving. So the Lumiere generates a lion, but instead of it looking like a normal lion, it's a gold lion, which is pretty interesting that this can actually be done for video. I remember using an earlier image generator, not Midjourney, I can't remember the name now, but it was able to do this for pictures, not for video, for pictures at a reasonably decent level about 6 or 7 months ago. But I'm actually very curious to see how Lumiere does this when it, of course, is available for public use. So what is perhaps more impressive is that instead of using an image as an example, you can actually simply type what kind of style you want for your video to be in. So in the examples, they show that there is a kind of short video clip, maybe 2-3 seconds in a loop, of a number of these short videos, but there's one specific one of a lady jogging, and some text prompts are asking Lumiere to edit the video, but make the lady out of kind of some weird things, but out of a colorful toy, colorful toy bricks or flowers, and then it does this. So the lady looks like she's made out of Lego or Duplo bricks, or in the other one she actually looks like she's made out of flowers. It's pretty trippy. Hopefully I'll have some of those videos up here on the video of the podcast if you're watching this on YouTube, but of course just check out their website and you'll be able to see this, as you kind of need kind of a good visual representation of what I'm talking about here. So the same is done but for a car. So with a simple text prompt, you get essentially a car that looks like it's built out of Lego, which, as I was in love with Lego when I was a kid, is pretty cool. And if you actually, with this specific kind of Lego car example, if you look closely at this example, you can kind of see a few yellow-like people in the car, so these kind of yellow Lego type people. So some of the training data obviously used Lego, and it's actually still impacting the outcomes of these generated videos, I guess in a less than desirable way, but like most of the generative AI tools, this will be improved over time, and probably significantly faster than we all expect. So Lumiere does a few other things, like, I'll just go through these quickly, but check out the website if you want more in-depth understanding of what these are. What I've already described is kind of, I think, the main crux of what Lumiere does. But it also does things like animating a specific section of an image, like the smoke coming out of an old coal train, filling in missing parts of a video, and even adding different elements to a source video. Like, for example, there was a normal looking owl, a short video loop of an owl, but with this adding of different elements, they put a red scarf on the owl, so it looks like the little owl is wearing a red scarf in the output video. So you can kind of get some ideas of really quickly adding different various elements to any video that you're actually editing in Lumiere, of course, when it's available to the public. So as I mentioned a couple times, check out the website to get a full idea of what is possible when it's launched. So as I like touching on more in this podcast, let's look at the impact. So at the very bottom of their landing page, there are actually 2 sentences on societal impact. So I'll just read this out. Our primary goal in this work is to enable novice users to generate visual content in a creative and flexible way. However, there is a risk of misuse for creating fake or harmful content with our technology, and we believe that it is crucial to develop and apply tools for detecting biases and malicious use cases in order to ensure a safe and fair use. So to start off, I want to focus more on the first part of this, and then conclude with a small mention or small summary of ideas of the second part of this, which I think has already been talked about extensively elsewhere, so that's why it's just going to be a short mention. So essentially, with advancements in AI like ChatGPT, I think that you'll be able to craft stories that are up to date and maintain the continuity of any chosen intellectual property or IP. So imagine using ChatGPT now, connected to the internet, to create a narrative that aligns with the detailed universe of your favorite series or franchise. This AI could become actually aware of every aspect of the storyline, very simply just by browsing the web for reviews or analyzing episode transcripts and various kind of related content and data. So although its training data might have limitations, this tool could craft or draft a compelling continuation of an entirely new season or series. You can take this to the next level. Platforms like Lumiere, which we're talking about today, or Runway, which I've talked about before, with their groundbreaking text-to-video technology, enable the transformation of these written narratives into visual stories. Just as you can write a script or storyline, these AIs will generate the corresponding video content, bringing your kind of textual creation to life. But there's more to this. You can integrate other AI applications such as voice generation with, like there's an example out there of voice.ai. This could produce voiceovers for the characters in these video generations. Additionally, you can employ AI video editors, something similar to, I hope, potentially most of you have used something like a GoPro Quick, which allows you to put an assembly of clips, audio, and text together into a cohesive visual narrative in a couple seconds, right? So you just put a bunch of different clips and images of, say, a holiday that you're taking, that you've taken, and then the AI will put all of these together in some nice clip that you can, of course, post on social media if you're so inclined. So all of this taken together, I think that this is going to not only democratize content creation, but really open up new horizons for fan-made extensions of beloved series or even entirely new seasons, complete with characters that are voiced with voices, AI voices, that resemble the original actors. So, while some aspects of this process definitely require further development, the fundamental components for this, I guess you could say, new industry or new sector of AI-powered content generation really are already in place. And I think that this is bringing about or heralding an exciting new chapter in fan-made content creation, but content creation kind of across the board. So the second order impacts I think will be even more profound. And I discussed this a little bit more in depth in one of my previous episodes. I believe it was episode 126 or 122. If you want more information on that, but I can gloss over these things here because they're definitely relevant to today's episode. So as discussed previously, I think that VFX and the entire animation industry is really on the verge of being massively disrupted. You can think Blockbuster before Netflix or Kodak before the digital camera if you're old enough to remember those brands. To a lesser extent, but still pretty extensive, Hollywood and the traditional studio structure will definitely be impacted. Intellectual property is, I think, really going to become more important than ever before. Fan engagement and community building coupled with this will, I think, expand astronomically, as you can kind of see, individual independent content creators amassing a large fan base and then taking requests for new episodes, new series, new sidelines, new side stories, all of these sorts of things. So that engagement with community is going to become more important as people are able to generate their own stories that diverge from maybe the Hollywood or the large studios creating the type of content that we've been so accustomed to. And then, of course, coupled with this, our independent creators will become massive winners. There's a great book called The Second Machine Age that I've read a couple times that talks about big winners and big losers as all of these, not just AI tools, but all of these digital tools and digital technologies are coming out. You're able to leverage so much more from these tools that, I mean, in the examples that I've given, one individual content creator can generate an entire series, whereas right now it takes an entire studio to do something like that. And I think it'll be sooner rather than later that they'll be able to get at or really close to the same kind of quality that these large studios, like say Disney, for instance, that churn out these, you know, multi-million-dollar TV shows. Independent content creators in the near future will be able to compete against them. So, you know, those content creators that are getting good with using these AI tools will just become massive winners. It'll seem like overnight. Of course, it'll take a couple of years, like everything does, but they will be wildly successful, I guess, both financially, but also in attracting attention. So yeah, it'll be a very interesting space over the next couple of years. And finally, as this kind of, and this final point ties into the second part of Google's kind of societal impacts warning, is the oversaturation of content and the ethical issues that will become dominant trends, or these two things will become dominant trends. And this, of course, ties into one of the biggest trends of the year, which I spoke about on a previous episode, and that is this year, right, 2024, around 40 national elections will happen across the world, where half of all humans on Earth will be voting. So AI-generated videos are they're really just starting to come out. So though some deepfakes will of course be impacting various voters across the world, these future quick and cheap AI-generated videos, still being a few years away, will bring about even more substantial impact to the voting and the political sphere and process, as we've been hearing about for years now, with you know, different kind of manipulation tactics. But I think when we get to real content that you can't really tell whether it's AI generated or not, those impacts will be massive. And I think everything from political hit pieces to different kind of ads to, even scarily enough, state propaganda will of course be made cheaper and easier to make, and there will be a proliferation of all of these things. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on these things. I'm looking forward to having a couple guests come on in the future where we can dive into these subjects a little bit more, but I want this to be a little bit more of a cursory or summary look at some of these impacts. So that's kind of the relevant trend for this year and the coming years in the political arena. But there's also a couple other industries that I think are going to be impacted pretty quickly. And one is education and training will actually become vastly easier to produce. I think I had Synthesia's CEO come on to the podcast, I want to say maybe 2.5 years ago. And they are a deepfake, or as I think they prefer it to be called, synthetic avatar product. They're able to generate training videos for corporations or different types of organizations without the massive production that's typically required to create these training videos. So they're able to do it easier and cheaper, and we're going to see this ramp up over the next couple of years for sure. Coupled with that, the legal profession is going to be impacted. So you can think about false testimonies or altering recorded events are going to be happening significantly more during legal proceedings. We also have, I mean, this is probably the most obvious, but it needs to be said, marketing is going to be expanded tremendously. Ads could be made not just cheaper, but they're also going to be able to be hyper targeted to individual preferences, and then of course manipulate consumer choices. You can imagine you know, some sort of AI generated content that looks like a deepfake of, say, a president within your various country speaking to your preferences, right? as these ads are able to target individual preferences, this president is speaking to you and your type of group that you're following, telling you to do one specific thing over another. You could really easily and quickly see how individual people, just by interacting with online content, could be manipulated quite quickly. It doesn't have to be president, it can be any kind of larger, famous, influential person. So, and the impact that has, I think, been brought up on the podcast a few times, which I actually think is the most likely out of all of these, is maybe in context of all these negative disruptions is actually a positive one, and that is the erosion of trust in all forms of video. So just like we don't trust images online anymore, especially when used on social media or even in journalism today, because of the extended use of Photoshop, right? If you see an image maybe shared by some of your friends or just on social media, and it's of some, wild thing, say like UFOs or whatever, you're not very likely to trust that, simply because we've been conditioned of so many false images coming out over the last 10 or 15 years, however long Photoshop has been around. And I think that this trend is going to continue into video, right? Today we're much more likely to trust video than images, of course, but this erosion in trust of videos is going to come, I think, a lot faster than what a lot of us expect. And I don't think that this is going to take years and years and years to play out. So we can actually already start to see this erosion taking place with certain videos, especially when you're not sure whether that video has been edited using CGI or not, right? So there's already distrust in some maybe more fanciful videos out there. But to use this image of, or this example of a president or a head of state, when you see a video of your head of state speaking at some crucial emergency message conference that's going out to your nation, and you're not sure if you're seeing AI or not, I think that that is going to be a very strange, interesting, and potentially frightening world to live in. So I'm looking forward to cover that on the podcast as this kind of reality rolls out. Thanks for listening. Well, thanks for listening to this week's Future Tech and Foresight podcast. If you like what you've heard here, there are, of course, a number of ways that you can support the podcast. The best way would be to leave a review on Apple Podcasts or give a rating on Spotify, which you can find a step-by-step explanation for on the futuretechandforesight.com website. Alternatively, feel free to leave a comment either on the episode show notes or the YouTube channel where you can see video recordings of the interviews. And finally, if you are part of an organization that is aware of the disruptive and transformational impact that emerging and future technologies will bring and want to know more, please get in touch to hear about the strategic foresight services that we offer and how we can help future-proof your organization and take advantage of the phenomenal opportunities available to survive and thrive in the future.
A lot of future-shocked people and future-shocked institutions in our society are simply overwhelmed.
Once there is superintelligence, the fate of humanity may depend on what the superintelligence does.
Science fact is catching up to science fiction.
The first truly intelligent machine will be the last invention that humanity needs to make.
The only scarcity that will exist in the future is that which we decide to create ourselves as humans.
Within a 10-year design revolution, we can have all humanity living at the highest standard living anybody's ever known.
Progress is accelerating at an exponential pace, and it's going to reach a point where progress is so fast it's going to be a singularity.
We are probably one of the last generations of Homo sapiens.
Every single headline points to the birth pangs of a Type 1 civilization.